Listen carefully. Most students do not fail reading comprehension because of English. They fail because they cannot identify what the question is actually asking. UPSC does not trap students with vocabulary. It traps them with keywords. Two words may look identical on paper, but inside the exam hall, they demand completely different thinking. And that is where students lose marks. A student mistakes an inference for a crux. Instead of inference, they think that is crux. An assumption for an implication. A pragmatic response for a moral response. And instantly losses 2.5 marks. And instantly losses 2.5 marks. Then goodbye prelims. This is the real battlefield of CSAT. That is why today we are going to decode the entire UPSC matrix in 7 families. Those are crux and central idea, others critical message, best explanation, assumption, inference and implied meaning, logically follows and strongest support, corollary, and most rational and most logical and pragmatic response. These type of 7 families which will be asking in reading comprehension questions. So, but today's class is not about the dry dictionary meanings regarding these families. We are going to decode them in 3 languages like layman language and classroom language and exam hall language. We are going to decode them in 3 languages because UPSC does not reward theory. It rewards what? By the end of this session, you will look at a question keyword and then instantly understand what UPSC wants, what kind of option is dangerous, and exactly how the trap is designed. By the end of this session, you will get to know all these things. This is not an English class. This is a decision making masterclass. First and foremost, we have to focus on core focus questions. What are they? What is the passage actually about? These are 3 keywords students constantly confuse. Those are what? Crux, central idea, author's critical message. These are core focus questions. Crux, central idea, author's critical message. All 3 look like twins, but UPSC creates them completely differently. So, we are going to discuss word by word with patient. So, the crux or central idea. The crux is the movie trailer of the passage. The crux is the movie trailer of the passage. It is the ultimate elevator pitch. Let's say if your friend gives you a 300-word passage and asks, explain this entire text to me in just one sentence without losing the content, without losing the main point. That is the crux. But remember this golden line, the crux must cover the entire passage. Then it only the crux, not one paragraph, not one emotional line, and not one brilliant example. The whole passage. That is called as the crux. Crux is like the movie trailer of the passage. Then we are going to classroom trick. Ask yourself, like, if I delete this specific idea from the text, does the entire passage collapse? If the answer is yes, that is your crux. Because the specific idea is always with the passage. If delete the specific idea from the text, does the entire passage collapse? That is the crux. If the answer is yes, that is the crux. This is all about crux, crux of the passage. You oftenly face this word, keyword, that is crux in passages. And next we are moving to author's critical message. Critical message. This is the different. The critical message is not merely what is the passage about. Then what? It asks, why did the author bother to write this? Authors don't write CSAT passages just to pass the time. They write because they are worried, angry, or excited. It is the so what of the passage. It is the wake up call. Critical message is the wake up call, the ultimate warning or takeaway. That is called as critical message of the passage. Think of it like this, like suppose the passage explains climate change. The crux is how climate change is accelerating due to human activity. This is the crux. Let's say we have taken the climate change topic. Crux is like this: how climate change is accelerating due to human activity. This is the crux. But the critical message is here: we must act immediately before irreversible disaster strikes. So this is the wake up call. We have to do something for rescue our climate change, our climate. So crux is like this: how climate change is accelerating due to the human activities. Crux is tell something due to human activity, it is happening, something happening. That is the crux. But critical message is for the activity, climate change is going something deeper and forward. So before irreversible disaster strikes, we have to act to protect the climate change, to protect the climate. This is the difference between crux and critical message. Please understand this. Remember this carefully. The crux is how climate change is accelerating due to human activity. That is the crux. Climate change how climate change is accelerating due to human activity. This is the crux. We must act immediately before irreversible disaster strikes. This is the critical message. Can you see this difference? One is description, the other is purpose. One explains the topic, the other explains the author's intention. Have to act before irreversible disaster strikes. That is the other's intention. So this is the difference between crux and critical message. This is most important thing. You have to understand it any cost, because usually oftenly questions are asking in the reading comprehension crux and critical message. Crux is must thing. Oftenly asking in RC, reading comprehension, in the CSAT examination. Next, we are moving to the another keyword, that is best explanation. What is the best explanation? Sometimes UPSC asks like this: what best explains this phenomenon? They given the statements options A, B, C, D. We have to pick the correct option. So when you see this, best explains this phenomenon. When you see this, look for the root cause. When you see this, look for the root cause. It is the ultimate dot connector. The option that elegantly ties up all loose ends based on only on the text. Students make one fatal mistake here. They choose the loudest, most emotional option. That is wrong. Mostly, UPSC does not want the most ideological answer. UPSC does not want the most ideological answer. Then what it wants? It wants the most complete explanation. That is the best that is the best explanation. The one that best accounts for the hard facts inside the passage. That is the best explanation. Connects, you have to, when you see the best explanation in the question, you have to find the root cause in the first instances. You have to do that. Then connect all dots logically. You have to avoid emotional options, because UPSC always think about completeness when it comes to the best explanation part. So that is why UPSC does not want the most ideological answer here in best explanation keyword part. When you come across with the best explanation in your question, you have to do first is you have to find the root cause. Look for the root cause. This is the ultimate dot connector. The option that elegantly ties up all loose ends based only on the text. Only on the text. Students make one fatal mistake here. They choose the loudest, most emotional option. You don't do that. That is the wrong thing you are going to do. UPSC does not want the most ideological answer here. It wants the most complete explanation according to the passage. That is what UPSC wants. That is the one thing best accounts for the hard facts inside the passage. Then we are moving to reading between the lines. Hidden elements questions. What are they? This is going to we enter the dangerous zone. This is the territory where students hallucinate meanings. UPSC loves this section because here students stop reading and start imagining. Start imagining. What are they? That is assumption. The hidden pillars. Assumption. An assumption is never directly written on the page. Never. It is the unspoken, hidden belief the author had in their head before they even started writing. Think of it like a hidden pillar beneath a building. You cannot see it from the outside, but if you remove it, the entire argument crashes to the ground. Like if you remove the pillar from the building, beneath the building, if you remove that, the entire structure collapse. So that is the assumption. That is the hidden pillar in the passage is assumption. How can we catch a valid assumption regarding the passage? That is the negation test. To catch a valid assumption, use this killer classroom weapon, that is the negation test. Take the option, turn it into a negative, make it false. Now ask yourself, if this option is completely false, does the author's argument survive or die? If the argument collapses instantly, it is a valid assumption. If the argument still survives, the assumption is invalid. The single technique will save you from the trickiest traps in CSAT. Let me repeat it again. An assumption never directly written on the page. Never. It is the unspoken hidden belief the author had in their head before they even started writing. Like hidden pillar beneath a building. You cannot see it from the outside. But if you remove it, the entire argument crashes to the ground. So hidden pillar is the assumption. What is the negation test? To catch a valid assumption, use this killer classroom weapon, that is negation test. First of all, you have to take the option, turn it into a negative, make it false. Make it false. Now ask yourself, if this option is completely false, does the author's argument survive or die? If the argument collapses instantly, it is a valid assumption. If the argument still survives, the assumption is invalid. The single technique will save you from the trickiest traps in CSAT. And we are moving to the another keywords. Those are inference or implied meaning. What is the inference? Inference meaning is what? Inference is simply connecting 1 plus 1 to get 2. That is the inference. The other gives you a clue A and a clue B. You naturally realize a conclusion C. The other did not spell it out for you. Didn't spell. did not spell it out for you, but it is undeniably true based on the facts provided in the passage. Inference is logical, unavoidable, and evidence based. It is not a guess, it is not a wild prediction or creative thinking. Inference is a hidden fact. Inference is a hidden fact. If an option requires a major leap of faith, it is wrong. Major leap of faith, it is wrong. No need of prediction here, no need of guess here. Inference is a hidden fact. So we are moving to the another part, that is logical extensions. That is what happens next. Now we move to the logical continuation questions. What are the logical continuation questions? Extensions. Those are logically follows or strongest support. Imagine the passage is a staircase. UPSC asking you what is the very next step. The correct option must perfectly align with the data, the logic, the direction of the text without changing the flow or jumping the tracks. Next step. Please remember carefully, strongest support. What is strongest support? Strongest support means you are looking for the safest conclusion, not the dramatic one, not the extreme one, the most undeniable conservative conclusion based only on the evidence given, nothing extra. Strongest support, you are looking the safest conclusion. Strongest support means safest conclusion, not the dramatic one, not the extreme one, the most undeniable conservative conclusion based only on the evidence given. You have to stick in the passage, nothing extra. Corollary, you are going to face this corollary question because it is oftenly asked in UPSC CSAT from 2021 to till date. This is the word that makes students panic unnecessarily. So let's demystify it. Take with classroom language. A corollary is the buy one get one free truth. It is a direct side effect, a natural consequence, a natural consequence, a natural consequence. If statement A is true, then statement B automatically becomes true as a consequence, even if it is in a completely different domain. So consequence, natural consequence is means corollary. Logical follow is natural next step. Let me give you a clear example. Suppose a passage proves heavy unseasonal rainfall destroys standing crops. Heavy unseasonal rainfall destroys standing crops. Unseasonal. The other never mentions the market, inflation, or money, anything here. But a valid corollary would be food prices are likely to rise. Why? Because it is a natural, unavoidable side effect of crop destruction. The other didn't invite into the party, but it follows anyway. If the unseasonal rainfall destroys standing crops, production will be down. Then automatically demand is same, production is down. Automatically demand will be increased. Like demand is the same, production is reducing. So prices will be automatically consequence. That is, supply is going to be down due to destroy of standing crops. Demand is high. So mismatch of prices. Automatically food prices are likely to rise. Here is no market, no inflation, no money, etc. They didn't give in here because it is natural, unavoidable side effect of crop destruction. So that is a corollary, natural consequence. So we are moving to another level of questions or keywords, that is administrative mindset questions. What are the administrative mindset questions? That is practical governance logic, like most rational, logical, pragmatic response, etc. type of questions. Modern UPSC increasingly leans toward these terms like most rational response, most pragmatic response, most rational, logical, most pragmatic. This is not English test anymore. This is where UPSC tests your administrative mindset, not activist thinking, not emotional thinking, not ideological thinking. It is testing your administrative mindset. UPSC wants to practical bureaucrat approach rather than idealistic. The solution must be realistic. The solution must be implementable. The solution must be balanced. And the solution must be administratively and economically possible. Then it only called as pragmatic. Pragmatic means nothing but practical. So students always fall for extreme options here. That is the trap here. Suppose let me take a passage talks about severe urban pollution. That is the passage. So option A says ban all diesel and petrol cars permanently from tomorrow. Is it rational? Maybe on paper, but is it pragmatic? No, not at all possible, because it shuts down the economy and creates a bigger crisis than the one it solves. So UPSC rewards the balanced, progressive solutions, not emotionally satisfying, destructive ones. Think like a practical bureaucrat. Balanced and implementable solution is needed here. You have to avoid extreme solutions. UPSC rewards realistic governance logic because you are appearing to be the civil services examination, you are going to be the future civil servant. That is why this type of questions, practical bureaucratic type of questions they are asking. In reading comprehension, these type of questions are increasing day by day, so you have to be very careful here. Let us moving further. Build your mental operating system. When you look at a CSAT reading comprehension question, use this UPSC Lens rule book. What are they? Crux, central idea. When you come across crux or central idea, ask yourselves what is the 30-second summary or elevator pitch of this entire text. When you come across with crux or central idea, what you have to ask yourself is what is the 30-second summary or elevator pitch of this entire text. That is the crux. That is the central idea. Go with this. Then critical message. You come across with the critical message. What you have to do is, why did the author bother to write this? What is the urgent wake up call? This is the critical message. Then assumption. You have to ask yourselves what hidden pillars must remain true in the background for this text to make sense. Hidden pillars. Inference. What is the inference? Based on the hard facts given, what else is 100% undeniably true? Based on the hard facts given in the passage, what else is 100% undeniably true? That is inference. Next, we are moving to pragmatic response. This is most important. Ask yourself, as an IAS officer, what is the most practical, realistic, and balanced step forward? This is all the critical message. This is all the keywords. Crux. Crux means 30-second summary. Critical message, author's warning, wake up call, assumption, hidden pillar in the passage, background, inference, what else becomes true 100% with the given hard facts, pragmatic response, most realistic step. These are the keywords. Now let us do the one real UPSC exercise to understand easily. So let me take the same passage, different keywords, completely different answers. So the sample passage here like this. India's small scale farmers are facing severe crop losses due to sudden unseasonal weather shifts. While technology like smartphone weather alerts exists, most smallholders lack the internet access or digital literacy to use them. If we do not bridge the rural digital divide immediately, agricultural distress will deepen, threatening national food security. This is the passage. Let me read it again. India's small scale farmers are facing severe crop losses due to sudden unseasonal weather shifts. While technology like smartphone weather alerts exists, most smallholders lack the internet access or digital literacy to use them. If we do not bridge this rural digital divide immediately, agricultural distress will deepen, threatening national food security. This is the actual passage. Now, what's the magic of keywords unfold here? First one, crux or central idea. Apply our classroom formula here. Summary, main subject plus main problem. The correct options looks like here. The rural digital divide is preventing small farmers from mitigating weather induced risks. Why? Because it captures the entire arc: farmers, weather shifts, and digital gap. The trap option will say unseasonal weather causes severe crop losses. It sounds true, but it's partial fact, not the whole story. It leaves out the digital divide entirely. So digital divide is also most important in the passage. This is also included in the crux, has to be included in the crux or central idea. So that is why the correct option, like here, the rural digital divide is preventing small farmers from mitigating weather induced crop risks. This is going to be the crux or central idea. Next we are moving to the second one, that is others critical message. What is the urgent wake up call here is immediate action is required to provide digital infrastructure to rural farmers to secure the nation's food supply. This is going to be the correct option. Why? Because the focus changes from explanation to urgency and action. So the author did not write this to complain about the weather. They wrote it sound the alarm on food security. So this is the author's critical message. Then valid assumption. Where is the hidden pillar here? You have to apply the negation test. The correct option is access to digital weather alerts can significantly reduce crop damage for small scale farmers. This is the correct option. Let's negate it. Suppose digital alerts cannot reduce crop damage. This is the negate. The digital alerts cannot reduce the crop damage. Then the other center argument that we must bridge the digital divide to save farmers collapses instantly. The argument dies without this belief. Therefore, it is valid assumption. Let me repeat it again. Here the correct option is access to digital weather alerts can significantly reduce crop damage for small scale farmers. This is going to be told by passage author. Let let's negate it. Suppose digital alerts cannot reduce crop damage. So this is false. The option is false. Then other center argument that we must bridge the digital divide to save farmers collapses instantly. Digital divide to save farmers collapses instantly. So the argument dies without this belief. Therefore, it is valid option. So this is valid assumption. And we are moving to the most rational and pragmatic response. For this, you have to think like a practical bureaucrat. Correct options look like this. Correct option look like this. The government should invest in rural digital literacy and baseline telecom connectivity alongside distributing farming alerts. You have to do few things: rural digital literacy, telecom connectivity, with distributing farming alerts. You have to do three things simultaneously. Why? Because it directly attacks the root bottlenecks mentioned: access, literacy, with a realistic, doable policy step. This is the correct option. UPSC sometimes says like this, trap option will say like this: the government should provide free smartphones and unlimited free internet to every citizen. Emotionally beautiful, but it is not. Practical thing. Financially and administratively impossible. Government should provide free smartphones and unlimited free internet to every citizen is a Hercules thing. How can it is possible? Emotionally beautiful, financial and administratively, it is impossible. This is not at all pragmatic. So UPSC will trap you like this with these type of options they supposed to give in the examination to trap you. So pragmatic practical approach is need of the hour in the as far as UPSC is concerned. From pragmatic response, logical response, rational response in the reading comprehension. This is all about crux, critical inference, assumption, most logical, rational, pragmatic response, implied, inference, all these things. So listen to me very carefully. Reading comprehension is not a test of your English fluency. I'm telling you again and again this thing. It is a test of your disciplined thinking. UPS is not checking if you can read words or not. It is checking if you can identify structural logic. It is checking if you can classify intent under pressure. It is checking if you can distinguish an assumption from a inference. Separate wild idealism from administrative practicality. This is all going to be tested with these questions, with these passages in the examination. You have to remember this rule, golden rule. The passage is your absolute boundary. The passage is your absolute boundary. Don't go beyond passage boundary. Don't go beyond the passage. If UPSC asks for an inference, implication, or assumption, you are allowed to look just under the surface at the hidden pillars. But if UPSC asks for the crux, central idea, or critical message, you must zoom out and look at the whole picture. But you won't go beyond the passage. This is the golden rule. The passage is your absolute boundary. Don't go beyond the passage. That is the real reading comprehension skill. Not speed reading, not heavy vocabulary. Structural disciplined thinking is the need of the hour to crack and solve the most number of questions in reading comprehension in UPSC CSAT. And that is exactly what modern CSAT rewards. If this session finally decoded the hidden architecture of UPSC reading comprehension for you, comment below Metis RC system. Check the pinned comment to join our Telegram channel right now. I'm dropping the official Metis RC keyword cheat sheet PDF and PYQ breakdown frameworks here. High yield CSAT eliminate sheets. This is not random preparation, not at all. This is a system training. I'm Niranjan from Metis, founder of Metis IAS. Welcome to the Metis IAS Academy. And thank you and all the best.